What's up everyone, today I reached expert in the Go Battle League running a kind of spicy pick for the Open Great League, Escavalier. Now, I can't really take any credit for this pick as I was very much inspired by a couple of opponents I faced earlier this week, as well as a trainer, a streamer I was watching faced who was running an Escav Frost Azu line, and that line just seemed like a lot of fun, and Escavalier seemed to line up pretty well versus the teams I was seeing, so I gave it a go and it worked out very well. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is Escavalier good for? And this is your answer. It is one of the prime counters for this Bastiodon Razor Lever combination, which I've been seeing quite often again. Very annoying to deal with, but Escavalier got it covered. Because of counter, it just destroys Bastiodon, and it is double resisting these Razor Leaves, so it's fine in this matchup as well. Escavalier is very, very squishy though, so even though these Razor Leaves are double resisted, they are doing quite a lot of damage. I should still be able to get to 3 Durans here though, and win switch advantage. I'm gonna go for the second one here. Oh, by the way, besides this Bastion Razor Lever combination, Escavalier can also beat Umbreon, Lickitung, Charmers, Steel types, so it lines up pretty well versus the current meta. It's also fine versus Lantern, though it's not exactly a winning matchup, but versus the current meta, I do feel like it's a fine Pokemon. I'm actually able to farm down this Victreebel completely, live on 1 HP, and I'm just gonna Mega Horn whatever comes in, and it's gonna end up being a second Razor Lever, Torterra. We throw the Mega Horn. This is super effective, coming from a very squishy Pokemon, and it knocks out the Torterra. Out comes Bastiodon. This point, I really wish I brought in Froslass just to give that little bit of hope to my opponent. But I wasn't that mean whilst I was doing the battle, so I just came in. Azumarill, throw the Hydro Pump. This is why I have Hydro Pump on Azumarill, by the way, to hit steel types like Bastiodon. And I think Play Rough is kind of necessary to beat like opposing water types, like Mantine is kind of important. So Hydro Pump, nice for steel, but you could consider Ice Beam as well. Anyway, this next game, we had a Dragonite in the lead. Very bad for Escavalier, so a pivot into Froslass. That's going to be your pivot against most bad leads. I think some you might want to switch Azu, but most of the time, 99% of the time, you're going to switch Froslass. It's just a much more flexible Pokemon in the current meta. You can also lure out like Lickitungs, and Froslass has played there, Azu has not. I'm just going to let my Froslass go down there to the A-Slash this point. I'm only expecting the A-Slash to get to 1 mover, so I'm just going to let it go and take the shield advantage in this matchup. But unfortunately, they're going to end up getting to another Ice Punch. So had I been a little better at counting there, I would have shielded the first move, as that would have definitely been the hardest hitting one. Anyway, I still get to the Mega Horn versus Dragonite. This is resisted, but Escavalier doesn't care. It knocks out the Dragonite. I switch in Azumarill, and luckily it is not a Registeel or a Lantern, it's Toxicroak, and this should be a manageable matchup for Azumarill. Actually, way back in the day, this used to be a very common matchup. You know, Toxicroak was a very popular Pokemon back in the day, before Excels I'm talking, and Toxicroak actually won this matchup in the one shield. But now that Excels is a thing and my Azumarill is like almost level 50, I'm gonna easily be able to survive the Sludge Bomb, and the Play Rough should knock out the Toxicroak. Yeah, this is one of those matchups where I really wish we didn't have Excel anymore, to be honest, because, you know, that would make Toxicroak an interesting Pokemon. But anyway, we're not living in that age. We're living with Excels, and the Sludge Bomb did knock out, so he won that game. GG. Azumarill lead. Now this is awkward. Both Escavalier and Froslass don't have a great matchup here, so I'm kind of gonna stay in here. Generally, these Azumarills do run Hydro Pump, so I'm gonna opt to shield the first mover, as they did already reach 7 bubbles. I think they're at 8 at the moment. They threw 5, and then I threw my Duran, and then they threw 3 more. And this should be the 8th, which means they're now at 11, which is enough for double Play Rough. So, which I'll likely try to catch the second one. At this point, they didn't shield that even. I'm gonna switch to my Azumarill generally. This is not something I recommend. Azumarill has very like hard counter matchup in this meta, like Lantern and Grasses. So switching into your Azumarill, switch locking it, they're generally not what I recommend, but this time I felt like it's kind of what I needed to do. And behind Azu, I'm also not really expecting a Lantern, at least. It could still be a Grass, definitely, but I'm not expecting Lanterns, so the chances of getting hard countered is kind of low then. And it doesn't seem like I'm getting hard countered, because they bring in a regular Alolan Sandslash, which I have a Hydro Pump for. That's pretty nice. They wait a little bit too long to throw their Duran, and I get to the Play Rough here. This won't knock out the A-Slash, but we'll put it very low. There are only 10 Shadow Claws there, which means that they're not at an Ice Punch. Or they might be at an Ice Punch now, but they're definitely not at a Duran. Farm them down. Now they're gonna bring in... Let's see what they bring in. They bring in the... They bring in Azu, I can farm it down. Oh, Diggersby. Yeah, this is fine. My Froslass does fine here, and I have counters with Escavalier as well. Just gonna draw on this if they let it go. Like, they can just counter and Powder Snow down. So no need to go for the big move there. I'm gonna throw a mover. I'm actually gonna end up shooting, because I felt like the only way I was gonna lose this game is if I somehow took too much mutual damage on my Froslass and the Scorching Sands would knock out. But I mean, that's never gonna happen. She was honestly a mistake. I didn't calculate in the attack drop. Like, if I hadn't gone on that attack drop, I would have just thrown the Duran, because that would have, you know, already basically knocked him out. But now that I didn't get the attack drop, I just switched out to the Froslass, and I'm just making this game way harder than it should be, to be honest. Luckily, I do have the Duran stored, which is nice. So it's still going to be tough, because the thing is, I get to my Avalanche now, and they can freely catch it. Had I not thrown this, they would have bubbled me down. So I had to. I felt like I had to throw it. And this now puts me in a pretty bad spot, as the Diggersby comes out with a move here. But I do have a Duran stored, so I knock out the Diggersby. This is definitely not how I would recommend you play this matchup. I should just really let my Escavalier go and just sweep it Froslass. That would have been the safest way to play it. But, you know, I still won, so we're fine with it. GG. Sableye lead is very, very tough for this line. Escavalier has some play here, but Sableye just outpaces you. So I'm quite a bit of trouble here. Especially since I actually know my opponent's line. I'm playing Vroom Vroom Pow here, a very good player from India. And I know he's running a Powder Snow A-Slash and Venusaur in the back. So, and that matches up very well versus my line. Still, even though I know he has a Venusaur in the back, I feel like I should sack my my Azu here. So I catch a foul play there, which is huge. And now I'm hoping they don't know I have Ice Beam. Seems like they don't, so they throw the Frenzy immediately. Now, since they throw 7 Vine Whips, they're 5 away from my next. It's 6-6 for the first 2 Frenzies, 5 for the third, by the way. But he's not going to get there. I'm going to CMP tie on the second Frenzy with a Mega Horn. Turn would not knock out yet, so I have to go for the Mega Horn. This will knock out. Their Sableye is dry on energy, so I should be able to outpace it to a Duran. Really hoping they no-shield this, but knowing they have Alolan Sandslash in the back, they probably shield this. Afterwards, I'm just going to switch to Froslass. And now I'm just going to hope Froslass can sweep. But it's going to be really, really rough. I think one way I could have won this game maybe, or would have had a better chance if I tried to CMP tie the Sableye on the Duran, because I win CMP. And then they're like waste their energy. But the thing is, I know Vroom Vroom is like an insane player, and he would probably never allow that. So I felt like the safer play was just to dip out of there immediately. Now they bring out their Sandslash. Since it's Powder Snow, I'm not really too much at risk here of getting farmed down. So it puts me in a decent spot. I could have CMP tied on the Avalanche there, but I know I was going to get farmed down by the Sableye anyway. So I felt like my only win con at this point was like farming down the A-Slash with Escavalier and hope I still get to the Duran versus Sableye. But of course, I'm way too low health. So there ultimately really wasn't any win con in that game. GG. I still was pretty happy with how I played that though. That catch made it much closer than it should have been to, probably. So that was kind of nice. Okay, Whimsicott lead. This is kind of where I want to see it, because Azu was pretty bad here. I don't know about Whimsicott counts though, so I'm just going to throw my move here. Moonblast actually quite a bit, even though resisted. Pretty bad. I end up shooting that. Gonna go for a Grass Knot here most likely, even though it's double resisted at this point. It will definitely knock out, so I'm shooting that up. Gonna go for another Mega Horn right before I feel like they're gonna get to the Grass Knot. Should knock out if I let it go, but they're actually gonna end up shooting again. Which means Escavalier is probably quite valuable, but I'm already so low HP that I feel like I'd rather just let my Escavalier go and farm down with Froslass, as Frostlass's energy is just really, really good. And they bring in Registeel, so I'm very happy with that decision, because if I would have shielded my Escavalier, they could have honestly just locked me down before I got to a Duran, and then this Registeel would have swept my line. But now Froslass with a shield advantage is in a decent spot. Gonna let this move go. It's a Zap Cannon, not super effective. I can take that as Froslass. Gonna go for another Shadow Ball. I was really hoping that this would put it low enough to where I could bubble down with Azu before it could get to another move, but no, they survive with too much HP, so I'm actually just gonna stay with Froslass, force them to throw another move. Maybe I should have stopped throwing Powder Snows, to be honest, because if I stopped throwing Powder Snows, I would have got a more farm at Azu, but I also think that if I had done that, my opponent would probably just also not throw their move, which might put me in a tough spot later as well, if they're able to switch out with the move. So I decided to just keep Powder Snowing, threaten them with an Avalanche, and then farm out with Azu after. I'm going to have to use a shield on this Whimsicott. Overfarmed by one more, because I really thought they weren't going to get to the move. But Whimsicott is sneaky fast, gets to the Grass Knot, and this unfortunately seals the game. Had I thrown that Play Rough earlier, I would have been able to beat the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, as a Hydro Pump plus some bubbles definitely knocks it out. So yeah, that's a big misplay on my end, but you know, Whimsicott is not a Pokemon you usually see, and I was just off by one there on my account. Okay, Deoxys lead, pretty awkward for Escavalier, to be honest. You can one-shot it with Mega Horn, but when shields are up, that's not gonna happen. So I hope to switch into a Froslass to lure something out. In this case, it's a Alolan Ninetales. And this is a fine matchup. Honestly, I thought this Shadow Ball would knock out, as Froslass is just very, very, very strong, but it doesn't. It leaves it at very low HP. Honestly, the preferred play there would be to leave it with more HP, because they're gonna get to a mover anyway. So if I would have been able to get more farm on Escavalier, that would have been nice. But I don't. I only get one counter, but this is still okay. Should be able to get to a Mega Horn on the Deoxys. I might have to shield a move, but they don't throw, so I don't. Get to the Mega Horn. They're probably going to shield this, but that's fine. I have Azu shields down. If it's like Alolan Sandslash in the back, or Lickitung. If it's Lickitung, which you often see with this line, it will be tough. If it's Alolan Sandslash, which I've also seen, could be okay. Staying in here though, so it looks like it's not going to be Lickitung, because if it was Lickitung, I feel like they would have already switched out, but they didn't. So I'm feeling okay about this. Hydro does like 50% to a Deoxys-ish, so I go for it, since I should be able to Hydro Pump and then bubble down, and have a move store, whatever comes in next, if they do this, if they do allow me to bubble all the way down. You will get to another Thunderbolt though, so this is not looking too good. Azu will be below 50% health. Just really gotta hope Azu can beat something that's in the back. And there's not many Pokemon that Azu could really beat with 50% health. But this is one of them. This is one of them I could beat. A Shadow Steelix. This is amazing. Go for the Hydro Pump. This almost knocks out the Steelix. Go into the Excavator to farm down just for style points. And at this point, my opponent concedes the match, as it is definitely over. Okay, Carbink lead. Out comes Trevenant. I panic because I really don't have any answers for it. And I switch in Azumarill, and I just quit the game. Yeah, that was... what I should have done there is definitely switched in Froslass. But I really wasn't prepared for a Trevenant switch in. Though, even if I went in Froslass, I don't think I have much play versus Trevenant, to be honest. That's just one of those Pokemon that I don't think is possible to beat with this line. But if I went in Froslass, maybe I was able to Powder Snow it low enough to where I could farm down with Azu later. I don't know. Would have been tough. Would have been tough. But yeah. Definitely should not have played it like that. Anyway. Another Carbink lead. It's actually not that great of a matchup for Escavalier. So I'm kind of happy they let that second Durarun go. They bring in Charizard. Now this is scary. But I do have a Azumarill. To shield up that move. So with Azumarill should be fine, but there's a Registeel in the back, and Registeel hard beats Azumarill, and Froslass isn't the greatest for it either. But Froslass is fine, as I can take a Zap Cannon here, and I get kind of lucky here, also don't get the debuff. This is, by the way, Froslass, I recommend you do a very high step product one, high ranked one, because the matchup versus Registeel is just better with a high ranked one, as you're less likely to get lock-on down. Like the Zap Cannon does less, and you have more HP, so Registeel just can't really farm you down. Because I didn't get the buff, the second Shadow Ball knocks out, which is great. Even if I did get the buff though, I would put him low enough to where I could probably farm down. So I don't think it was that huge, definitely big. Was that huge? I shoot her, thinking they definitely Blast Burn, but they make a very, very smart call there, and Dragon Claw bait me, and this is actually gonna make the game quite close, because one Blast Burn does quite a bit. The second Blast Burn will put me deep into the red, and if they can get to another Dragon Claw now, the game will be over. But luckily for me, they're not quite there. Nazu bubbles down. GG. Next game, Alolan Ninetales lead. This is where you're really gonna see you know, Escavalier's lack of bulk. You do resist these moves, you're neutral back, you're not even that slow to the moves, but somehow Alolan Ninetales is still outpacing me in terms of damage. I mean, they're at the yellow right now, but you're gonna see Escavalier will hit the red before the A9 does. Look at that. I didn't think I'd be able to farm this down, so I'll just go for the draw in here. Let's see if they let it go. And they do. Get switched. That's nice. A lot of times with Alolan Ninetales lead, I've seen like Carbink plus what is it? Medicham backline. So I was very happy to get switched here, but it doesn't end up being Carbink. It ends up being Lickitung. And this is pretty awkward, as Froslass and Azu both don't have amazing matchups here. Froslass can win the Zero Shields here though, because Power Whip plus Lick does not knock out before 2 Avalanches, and 2 Avalanches plus Powder Snow should be enough to knock out the Lickitung. They realize I'm weak to Lickitung, so shield that. I also realized that this is like a very easy to catch move for them, but I couldn't wait. Like, I couldn't wait, because another Lick basically would knock me out. So I had to throw into the Medicham. No idea what preferred to overfarm by 1 more there and a Shadow Ball. That would put me in a really good spot, but now looking rough. No shoot the first move. thinking a Psychic would do less than a Power Whip, but they don't end up having Psychic. They Power Punch. Power Punch at 8, and now they had 5 more moves, or actually 4 more moves, which means it could only be Ice Punch, so no shield that as well. So Power Punch plus Psychic is 13, by the way. That's why I felt safe no shooting that move, because they're only at 12. And they didn't end up having a Psychic anyway. I know, actually I shield this, expecting it to straight Power Up. At this point, Hydro does like 40%. And Play Rough does like 26. So I'm pretty sure with Hydro it's not going to do enough. I'm going to need to throw 2 Play Roughs here to knock out the Lickitung. It's a race to the move. I don't get there, but Azu is very tanky. Can I survive this Power Whip? I barely survive, and I get off the Play Rough. And this should knock out the Lickitung. Extremely close game there. GG. Okay, next game. Lantern lead. Now, another matchup where you're gonna really see Escavalier's lack of bulk. I have a super effective move here. But even with this, unless you're running like a super high... Actually, you always lose zeros here, no matter the stats on your Escavalier. You need a very good ranked Escavalier to get to the second Juron here. So, and I have a pretty good rank one, so I'm just gonna let this go. And I know they're probably gonna catch this Juron, but I can't not throw it. Because if I wait, I mean, I guess I could have predicted here and switched into Froslass, but I don't know what to have in the back, so that's too risky. But yeah, if I wait, the spark damage will register before I can throw the Juron. So I just had to throw the catches on Superior, which is such a smart move. Because if I throw Mega Horn, like, they're just dead. So, you know, that's a very smart catch by them. Still not the worst, though. I can bring in Froslass, take a Frenzy, knock out the Superior, then throw a Shadow Ball into the Lantern, which they hopefully let go. If they let this move go, I'm in a super good spot. Because then I should be able to farm this down before they even get to a Thunderbolt. Or another move versus my Escavalier. This is even 1 counter range, so this is amazing. But it's Venusaur. And I have an Azumarill, so it's game over. GG. Oh, this is a lineup I've seen several times. Steelix lead with Maddie and Bastion in the back. They're hoping to win lead with Steelix and then RPS the back. Or hard counter the back with Metachamp, Bastion core. Doesn't work for Escavalier lead. They switch into Basti, thinking it's a better matchup than Steelix, which it is. But yeah, just draw on that. Now the game is over. I know it's Metachamp in the back. So what I'm going to do here is just go for the Mega Horn. Yeah, actually I'll go for Juron. Because I'm still expecting them to want to like save the Metachamp maybe. For something that I have in the back. And now I can get to another. Yeah, I can get to another. Wow. Escavalier really putting in work. You can also... Escavalier, by the way, also has Aerial Ace as a second move option. Could work instead of Mega Horn. But personally, I prefer... it is a little faster than Juron even, because it's 40 instead of 45 energy. And it does help first the Metachamps. But personally, I prefer Mega Horn. It's just such a hard-hitting move. I mean, we saw one-shot of Dragonite earlier. It was very nice versus Deoxys as well. If you can hit it. So that's why I prefer that. But yeah. Aerial Ace is definitely an option too. Anyway, that previous game was just rock, paper, scissors over. Now into the second game here, or the next game, was Greedent lead. They switch in Froslass. This is actually not that amazing of a matchup for Azu. Froslass can definitely flip this if they want. They have to go shield down here though, if they want to flip. Because I do allow them that option by letting the Shadow Ball go. Now they can shield this Play Rough and farm me down. But I was okay with that, because if they decide to do that, I would just let my Azu go, farm another Froslass, and have energy for the Greedent. And that would put me in like a decent spot as well. I end up having Charizard go, though, after they let the switch go. And this is not great. They can win this versus my Froslass, especially if they bait me here. So I call the bait, which puts me in a better spot here. Now I just have to make sure I don't throw my Avalanche into the Greedent, which I did not. I instant switch into the Escavalier here, which is a decent matchup versus Greedent, but Crunch, even though it's not that strong of a move. There's a ton versus Escavalier. I go for the Mega Horn on the 10th Mudshot, exactly when I get to the next Crunch. This will knock out. I go for a little undercharge here, because I thought maybe I'd want to take the Crunch, but honestly I'm glad I didn't undercharge that much, because I still get to the Juron here. Taking a little extra damage would have been nice, to be honest. Just a little. Because now they get so much farm. Like, I do get the shield, but they get so much farm afterwards. They're at 100 energy now. Which means they can triple Dragon Claw here. Because Dragon Claw is 35 energy. They have 100 energy now. That means they only need 1 extra wing attack to get to the third Dragon Claw. I'm at 2 Avalanches now. They have 1 shield. So I can throw one here, but they will get their wing attack through during their move. Charizard wins CMP. They have the Dragon Claw right now. It's all going to come down to, does Froslass survive a Dragon Claw from this regular party hat Charizard? And Froslass does survive, and I do get to the Avalanche, and this will knock out the Charizard. Very close game right there. Maybe I could have played a little better if I had allowed less farm for my Escavalier. But you know what? I won, so I take those. Deoxys lead. I always just go into Froslass, because most of the time it's like A9 and Lickitung in the back, in which case Froslass is like a much better pivot. But this time it ends up being Carbink. And yeah, if you face Carbink, there's not much you can do as Froslass, sadly. I went for the Avalanche first there. But I think the way to play this might be going with double Shadow Ball, as it just does slightly more. Though, now I do leave more farm for Azumarill, which is also not that bad. By the way, I went in Azumarill here, because Escavalier doesn't really take these Rock Slides that nicely, and Azumarill can at least tank some moves. They do get to the Moonblast now, though, which does a ton. I'm already in the yellow. This Carbink just took out like half my team. It's pretty bad. Out comes the Deoxys now. Maybe I have a little chance if it's like a Steelix in the back. That could definitely be possible. So I'm staying in this match. But they're gonna end up no-showing this move, which definitely diminishes my chances a bit, because apparently they might not be that weak to Azu. There's really no point in shielding this, as if they Thunderbolt, they can just get to a Psycho Boost before I get to my Play Rough. So I'm just gonna let this go, because I didn't want to go 2 shoots down, and then having Gligar in the back. So that game was just unwinnable, sadly. GG's. That was the final battle. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battle, trainers.